You are listening to Food for Worms, the original true crime podcast.
Food for worms.
No, my buddy Dan, he is a collector of oddities, and he finds a lot of stuff, and he was like, "This is too weird for me."
Oh, it's fantastic. I'd have been like, "Oh, you're coming home with me."
and he knows I love ET, so he was just like, "Yeah, this when it lights up too." So like that's a lamp. So
Oh my God,
So
dude.
his heart, or I guess I don't know what the light is, but that
Yeah.
lights up red, and then his eyes are
Well,
like
that's
blue.
when he like does the finger thing.
Yep.
And, yeah.
Oh.
And there's a little plastic light bulb on his finger, so his fingertip lights up too.
Oh,
so.
that's so.
What do you think that
cool.
lights up inside of ET? Like, do you think it's like the sense of wonder? Do you think that it's
I think
love?
I think it's like that. I mean, because it lights up too, just when his ship is coming.
Yeah.
I think it's like the warm fuzzies.
Great.
Like connection?
Yeah.
That's a better way of putting it.
Yeah, the connection. Yeah.
Yeah.
Say, hey, mom and dad. Oh, fuck, mom and dad are home. You're looking at your finger like, fuck.
Stop
Like,
it.
can we talk about how like that movie happened too? It's like I don't remember. Did they just come down and then he just walked off and went too far and then they left him?
Well, they were all walking around, and then the scientist guys, they were
FBI.
like, look, it's not FBI.
Whatever.
But they're like looking for them, because I'm assuming that they've come down before, or like these guys have been like looking for them or something.
Yeah.
And he got left in the woods
Poor
basically
guy.
because they were like,
Some
we gotta get the fuck out of here.
I mean,
'Cause
to be
the-
fair, we left my brother to store once when he was like 5.
Fuck.
Whoops.
Well, no, I think that like that's kind of the point too. It's like they were like, yeah, we're gonna go check out Earth. You guys been check out Earth? Dude, it's fucking weird that every time they show up, these same white dudes show up every fucking time.
And your brother ended up in the back of a van, being cruised across town.
Yeah.
These guys are riding in the bike
Yeah,
with
but-
some weirdo in the
but-
basket.
Yeah,
with
but
his-
by this time, they've already made it halfway home. They go back like, fuck.
Yeah.
Where
what
is-
happened.
Yeah, where's ET?
Totally.
What
Like,
is
I thought you had a count. Who had the count?
what's ET's actual name in all this? Edward?
Extraterrestrial?
dude.
Okay, we know it. Okay, yes.
Are you gonna? Oh, okay.
No,
Yeah,
it's
maybe it's a better name.
I mean, Elliot's name is Elliot, so his name starts with an E and ends with a T.
So,
So, I mean, it might, and they have like a weird connective bond, which might, I don't know.
I was just gonna say Edward Terrence and then just be like, yeah.
Oh shit, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Well,
No? No one?
I always throw out the line to my wife, like just randomly to make her giggle, like when his brother's buddies are like giving him shit in the beginning or whatever, and he's like, "It's not like that, penis breath." and then his mom's like, "Elliot." And that's how Brooke will like respond to me, and then that's how we spark up conversation.
Stupid. I don't remember that at all.
I don't
Well,
remember
it's
that.
when they're
at
like
all.
giving him shit about like going to get the pizza, and then they're like, "It's a Marvin man," or Martian man. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Who
Who the fuck is Mar?
right.
I was Marvin last night on the podcast.
Oh my god.
I was a dead body.
I mean, E.T. was terrifying to me.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrifying. The whole idea of like, especially when he turns like white. And
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God. And then you see him dead and you're like, not E.T. And you're like, oh my God, he's so scary. And
He looks like a fucking walking Tootsie Roll.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Looks like
terrifying.
he's with these gigantic eyes. There's a picture with with Edward Terrence and Michael Jackson side by side, and then Michael Jackson, he had those fucking
Edward Terrence.
Edward Terrence.
I was gonna say.
Wow,
for a
you
second-
just pulled that up.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. He's Edward Terrence.
Anyway, everybody, welcome to
Sorry.
Food for Worms.
I'm Edward Terrence.
This is Edward Terrence, and I'm Emmanuel Thompson, and today we're kicking it with fuck off, Sam. We're kicking it with Lacey Hunt.
Hi, Lacey.
Hello.
Hi, Lacey.
Hello.
How are you?
Welcome.
Hey, I'm great.
Good. Good.
You're not
Glad
gonna
to be here.
You're not gonna give her a nickname. You give everybody a nickname.
Okay, I
when
had a
when
fucking list, but I
shit.
didn't have my shit open, so thank you for calling me out, Sam.
Oh, it's all good.
So let's
I'm
try
here
this
to
again,
remind.
but keep all this in. Today we have Lacey Hunt, arch goth, a horticulturalist. Is that a thing? Yeah. Promoter, festival operations, cat mom, toothache inducing sweetie.
Oh, that's nice. got tooth fairy.
Because you're so sweet.
Aww.
And I didn't catch on to the sweetie part until after you like it had to sit for a second. I was like,
I know. It's supposed to be jarring.
It's only to the people I like, though. To be fair, everyone else I hate.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
There's only a few people.
I think that's legitimate in the world that we're living in these days.
But like some of my favorite times are just sitting there and just like we're not shit talking, but like about anybody in particular, but just our general dislike for humanity.
Yes.
If I have one friend where it's like, no, I just want to just fuck everybody, Lacey.
Oh my god! Like when we sat next to each other, like in the office. Oh my god, we would just be like, hate. Like
anybody can get it.
But the funny part was like we know what we're talking. Like we just vibe on things. We just look at each other and be like, yep.
Yeah. I remember the very first time I met you. I'd seen you around at the festival for years, but you and I had no reason to speak. And then there was the one year I was the fucking the artist liaison / stage manager with D-Rock over at the Fifth Element stage for a while. And that was such a long, stressful fucking day that I was broken. Life moved on.
Can you tell the listeners what festival you're speaking of?
No.
Okay.
And then time goes by. No, I met you that night as you guys came in there and tearing things down. And I was like, oh, yeah, she seems cool. And we moved on. And then later on that summer, we're sitting. I was bartending for the very first time upstairs, and then you come up to me, and then I think I just had like my first customer who I was making a point to be like, hey, everybody, first time bartending. If you want to have a good experience here, tell me what drink you want that has both the names in it, and I'll make it fucking happen. The first person that gave me a fucking drink was she was like, oh, I want a White Russian, and I was like. Wrong answer.
Oh my god! I'm sorry.
And I was like, okay. So I was like, let me pull up my phone really quick. I just told you what's gonna happen. That happened. Life moved on the rest of the night, and then eventually you walked up, and then there was a moment I didn't recognize you right away, and then we started talking as I was making your drink, and then you were like, you were at the festival. Oh yeah, you worked at the festival. Let me talk. Then we started just talking shit, and it was so much fun. And then we became really good friends afterwards. I feel all warm and fuzzy now.
It's true.
This is the feeling that Edward Terrence gets.
It's Edward Terrence all the way. I know. And fuck that White Russian. What the fuck?
Well, and what was your beef with White Russians?
There's nothing wrong with White Russians. It was that I was a new bartender.
Yo.
I made a point to communicate. I'm bad at this.
Oh, okay.
Get a drink that you want.
Yeah, okay.
You can
Wrong
bring home to
answer.
Mom. Yeah.
White Russian.
Correct
Correct answer. Rum and Coke or
Gin and tonic.
7-7.
Yeah,
or,
like,
I don't know. I don't know what people drink. But
even
you know.
7 and 7. It took me a long time to like Seagram 7.
You know what I mean, though. It's like that's
I
a
know
little
what you
bit
mean.
easier to figure out than.
I know what you mean now.
White
For the
Russian.
first 6 months, I was like, the fuck is a 7 and 7? I was like, yeah, vodka and fucking spread, I guess. And then it was like, it's Seagram 7. I was like, oh, we have Seagram 7?
And 7-Up, not Sprite.
Yeah. Oh, God. Somebody was like, this tastes like 7-Up. I just fucking throw a drink.
Yeah, you're
at
like,
them.
just drink it.
Yeah. The fuck out.
Give me your money and leave.
But White Russians are that's one of the few, those and Bloody Marys. Those are the two beverages I miss. Because I used to be the weirdo that would get I'd order a White Russian at fucking the Triple Rock at a punk show, and
I feel like a Triple Rock White Russian is worth
and
having.
everyone hated you.
Yeah. Oh my God. No. Let's. We know people that would be serving him. Yeah. I think that Rob would throw you in front of traffic. I think that Tic Tac would definitely just look at you for a second. He'd consider you, and then he would like, yeah, because he's a fucking professional. And then,
I mean, I wouldn't do it on show side. I'd do it at bar side.
It would be worse on bar side. I promise you.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. They seemed a little more happy.
No, they are nice. Don't get me wrong. They were wonderful people for the most part, but it's just like, yeah, you definitely got like they would look at you for a second, they would blink, and then they would just do it because they're, again, professionals. So, anyway, just wonderful friend, and I'm so grateful to have you.
That was a great day. Yeah, and I remember coming to talk to you, and that was really cool. And then we were just friends after that, so it was great.
It was fucking good energy, man.
I'm glad that shitty parts of humanity brought you guys together.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there are people like each other. You find friends that you have mutual understandings and mutual friendships and mutual things you like.
Yeah.
It is okay to have friends you have mutual hates with. And that,
oh, yeah.
Yes, and we're nerds. You know,
oh my
that
God.
helps
Yeah,
too.
hate floats.
Yeah.
Hate floats.
Yeah.
Is that like a root beer float? Or like a
Oh, I drink that all day.
or like What kind of ice cream do you make a hate float with?
Let's say it's probably vegan because
Definitely vegan.
Definitely vegan, and it would be a there's like a drift bridge or drift something. There's a
ooh, really fancy root beer.
Really fancy root beer.
Yeah.
Drift.
Yeah.
Something. Anyway, if you know what we're talking about, it'd be that's very specific root beer with a nice spoonful of vanilla
bean. Yeah, go fancy
milk
with it.
jam ice cream.
Oh my God.
Vegan ice cream.
You know, Kelsey's making stuff now. I hope she's gonna listen to this
I hope
because
so.
maybe that should be on her list.
Yeah. Hey, Kelsey. Hi.
Hi.
Goofball.
We want vegan ice cream.
Please send it to my apartment in Brooklyn. Thank you.
And I'll get some from D. But D, I wanted before we get into like other topics, you wanted to see something, and I was holding
and
it.
You're holding it back from me.
I know, because it was super fucking weird. I got home today from work, and there's a package, and I order records in the mail. But one showed up, and I was like, I don't remember ordering anything.
You were high.
And
You were high.
No, I was not.
Okay.
The Satanic Temple sent me a vinyl randomly today.
Oh,
lucky.
You get the thank you.
Oh
right?
my God. That's amazing.
But I've never heard of the band, and I like held everything together because I wanted you to see it, and I wanted to show you on the podcast. But I was like,
This is legit.
Yeah. At first, I was like, what the fuck did I get into? Some random late night.
Was your name on it too?
Yeah. But I think that they are just trying to recruit me.
I mean, like, if there's one fucking thank you for supporting this. Why didn't I get this? These guys are fucking great. This is fucking dope. Look at that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I listened to the band earlier, and what
this is great.
What does it say? Satanic Planet, right?
Yeah.
That's the name of the band, and I mean they sound fucking rad. And,
Okay.
I mean it was kind of a weird, odd, confusing surprise today.
Do you think that it's a message?
I mean it's. I mean I don't order a shit ton of vinyl to where I think my name would just be out there getting to the Satanic Temple,
man.
being like, we need to send him the one vinyl we have sitting on our shelf.
If there's one organization I want to be actually unsolicitedly sent anything, it'd be those guys. Do you see the Hail Satan movie that they did a few years ago
on Hulu?
Yeah. You sit and watch that?
I haven't watched it, but you know what? I was gonna watch it yesterday, and I didn't.
Oh, I wish you had. It's fucking. We won't get into it. It's
it.
fucking incredible. I'm not a Satanist, but the group, the Satanic Temple, they do a lot of good fucking work.
A lot of good work.
And I'm just like the whole time I was like, these guys been around this not for a long time, but they just seem like pretty reasonable people, which I love.
So, well, and I've read into it because I was raised Catholic, but I've like read up on.
Sorry.
Oh, I know. Sorry. You know how I feel about it, but no, I've read up on Satanism just to hear literally the exact opposite side of things, and I'm just like, man, Satan just gives this a bad name because everything that they're about sounds way better than everything I was taught as a kid. You know what I mean?
Respect bodily autonomy.
Yeah.
Whoa, what a concept! Please, fuck.
Yeah. I mean. But there's so many different like satanic aspects. Like there's the aspect of like the black magic part and like really believing Satan is like this real thing.
Yeah.
But then the other part, which is what I believe in, is the non-religious part of it. So there's really no religion that exists.
Yeah.
You know, like my husband's like, you can't be religious. I hate religion. Blah, blah. And I'm like, but it's not religious, So it's like.
It's basically like I'm not trying to belittle it by means, but it's like a really, really cool, reasonable club.
Well, it's just a bunch of like atheist loner weirdos.
Yeah.
Like we never want to see each other. Like we never want to get along. We all hate each other, but we all like come together in this weird way to like,
make sure
push for rights or whatever.
Push for rights. So. Make sure other people feel fucking supported.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is dope.
It's great. It's like, I never want to see it, which I saw the Satan Con thing and I was like, it sounds great, but I don't want to see any of you.
This isn't really what we're about, guys.
A bunch of like smelly like Satanists in like a small space in Arizona. I'm good.
Yeah, kicking into the, hey, we're hanging out in Scottsdale. Everybody bring your trip jeans. No, which is
Yeah, are they just trying to hang out in the hottest place possible?
Yeah.
And everyone's just in black.
I think that it's sending a message.
Well, the mayor, I guess, I think it was, it's Scottsdale, was like trying to come back and say, you can't hold that here and all this stuff. So they're doing it on purpose.
Right.
To like be like, no, it's freedom of religion.
Yeah.
We can do whatever
Which
we
they
want.
should. You
So
know?
that's why they're purposely doing it in Scottsdale is because of that.
yeah, it's a long-term troll. Yeah, I'm here for it.
Oh, yeah.
All
So,
the time.
Good times.
Like their billboards and oh my God, amazing. I read their newsletters. Like I'm pretty kind of involved.
I'm probably gonna sign up for the newsletters. I just remember I watched the movie. I was like, I feel like this is enough, and this is my general passive support.
I guess I'm already signed up for the newsletter.
Yeah,
Dude, they're dropping vinyl on your front door.
I don't know how that happens or where that comes from, but I'm stoked. But
Sam, it is peculiar, and honestly, if you find out how you got it, please relay it back to us because I saw it and I was like, the fuck? And you're like, I don't know how I got this. I was like, well, then fucking give it to me. You just said, no, mine.
It's so wild.
So hell yeah, man. We're gonna take one quick break, everybody. We're gonna talk some more about Satan stuff. We'll be right back. Food Performance Podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. Sam, you've been to therapy, right?
yeah, it always helps my brain and my heart to get the weird, sad, scary stuff off my chest.
Yeah, man, the case of the sads comes at you fast, but yeah, without a healthy mind, being truly happy and at peace in this day and age is just hard. It truly is.
Well, and I mean, who wants to go to an office where you have to be by like a real life human?
Absolutely not. No, not in this meat body, sir. No, I'm not doing that.
Well, and then like the recycled air, just that you both have to breathe in each other's faces.
To validate your parking and talk to Janice outside. No, thank you. To avoid that nightmare fuel, BetterHelp is a customized online therapy that offers video, phone, or live chat sessions with a licensed therapist. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy and can start communicating with the therapist in under 48 hours. That's nice, right?
Yeah.
Super
Yeah.
rad.
This
Super rad.
podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and Food for Worms listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/foodforworms.
Goddamn right.
That's betterhelp.com/foodforworms.
If there's one vinyl you don't want to play backwards, it's probably that one.
No, Aaron Bjork. Aaron Bjork said he said today, he's like, you should play it backwards and see if it has like Catholic hymnals or something going
totally.
reverse, like
Oh my God.
or no Bible verses.
Yeah. Oh my God. Do unto others, right? No.
Yeah. Blah blah blah
what it would
blah
sound
blah,
like?
blah 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 bullshit.
blah 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 Jesus blah 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 blah.
Do unto others.
Do unto others.
Yeah. Fuck off.
Amazing. So yeah, man.
Eye for an eye, bitch.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah. Actually, yeah. So outside of Satan.
That's a good way to start a sentence, Steve. Outside of Satan.
These are normal conversations for us, though, by the way.
Who are you? Where are you from, Lacey Hunt?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh.
As much as you want to disclose, because you don't have to do
Yeah,
shit.
I'm a major introvert, so it's like very weird for me to like talk about things. But where am I from? I'm from northern Minnesota, from a shitty town called Lake Park. You know, I graduated with like 50 people in my class. Yeah, that's where I'm from originally.
Word.
Yeah.
When did you come down to this area?
Yeah, so I came here in 2001. And actually, when I started college, 9/11 happened. So that's why I remember that. And so I graduated in 2000. So when I graduated, I went to Lake Tahoe, California.
Oh, nice.
And took a year off. I had no direction. So, like, I come from, like, a white trash, like, no money background, you know? And so I was like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. Packed up my green Dodge Neon that I had.
Hell yeah.
And I had $110, and I drove to California. And I ended up there. And I actually pulled up to a skate park and was like, this is cool. Met a few people and ended up getting a job at right across from Heavenly in Lake Tahoe. They had like an old time photo place. They had like t-shirt places, and I ended up finding out that tons of people are from Minnesota.
Okay.
I didn't know any of them.
I've been out in Heavenly, and it's gorgeous out there.
Yeah, so I worked at right across from Heavenly off of the main strip. So like the main strip across from Heavenly, and then like right next to us where the casinos start in Nevada. So like I was right there. And so there ended up being a bunch of people from Minnesota, like Alexandria, Detroit Lakes, like all these different places. Like, this is weird. But I just rolled up. I was like, I'm from Minnesota. She's like, you're hired. I'm like, all right, you know, like, okay. And that's kind of when I started doing photography. And back then it was Polaroid cameras. And so you do the Polaroid. You know, they'd be dressed up in cowboy outfits or whatever, roaring 20s. So then there was actually a developing lab in the back. So I had to take the photo, pose them, dress them, all this shit. And people from all over the world, like people from Ireland or wherever. So then I go into to the dark room, develop the shit. And it was actually this big machine where you put the Polaroid in, and it like, it reflects down onto the photo paper. So people would order like 5x7s or 8x10s or
so it's
whatever.
not just the regular Polaroid size.
Right.
Yeah.
So you insert the Polaroid and it projects it down onto the photo paper, but you have to do each one by hand. Jesus so like Christ. You think about it, you're like, okay, come back like, in 10 hours and I'll have like these 500 5x7s ready for you. Cause you have to sit there and like, ding, in the dark for like hours. And then, like, if you heard somebody come in, you'd, like, run to the front. And they're like, oh, my God. And then you'd have to upsell, like, the frames and all this shit, whatever. But that's where I started with photography. It was kind of a cool little gig. I was 18, whatever. And then I came back here, and I thought, what am I going to do with my life? So I went to the Art Institute for graphic design. And that's what I was going to do. I was going to be a graphic designer. Did that for, like, 4 years. And that's eventually what led me into the music business because I started doing advertising and designing and all this kind of stuff. And so I ended up living here 2001 through, 5. And then I moved back up north and I came back. And when I went back up north, that's how I started working shows. There was a music festival called We Fest, which is a country music festival in basically the backyard of my hometown. But they also had 10,000 Lakes Festival. And so I ended up being a design person, but also a festival management person at the same time. Like I started doing media stuff and I just got thrown into it.
Which is how it happens too. You're just careened in a direction.
Like,
fuck.
Oh my God. And like everything you ended up doing is like, wait, I gotta do credentials. I gotta do all this stuff. Yeah. So
when 10,000 Lakes was like in the heyday of like those festivals going on in Minnesota,
the jam band stuff. Oh my God, all that stuff.
Because I think I went there a couple years, so I know exactly where you're talking about. Yeah.
I've only ever driven by that spot. I've never actually been to the festivals, but I was like, I remember hearing about like the Wee Fest and people like, yeah, we're going to Wee Fest, fucking get fucked up. I was like, y'all have fun there. And then the first time I drink, yeehaw. And I drove by, I was like, oh, that's where that is. And then I just never went. So good times.
Yeah, so that's where I'm from, by the way.
Hey, good times. Hey, good times. No, I was always passing that on my way to Nimrod, Minnesota, and that was always fun.
Shit.
Yeah, right?
Population like 10.
Yup.
I've been to the mud runs in Nimrod,
really?
Minnesota. Oh yes.
Hell yeah. One time one time me and my cousin, we were on it wasn't even a fucking 4-wheeler, it was a 3-wheeler, and I lost control of it and ran into the restaurant's fucking their oil thing when they keep all their food oil. Knocked that motherfucker right over, and then we ran. And then they followed the fucking tracks back to the house we were at. They're like, come outside.
Like, no,
come outside now. And
we're scared.
Like, we're sorry. Trey, go get your mom.
Oh my God. Those things are so dangerous, those 3-wheelers.
Yeah.
Damn.
We learned that. But no, that's fucking great because I've been these are things I learned about you as we were working together, and just learning like how you are a fucking Swiss Army knife, just in all these different aspects. Like I had an idea that you were also a visual artist, but like learning from you, but it didn't occur to me that you were also like a graphic designer. There was one time we had to get something done really fast to get a turnaround on some marketing stuff, and then you're like, oh, I could do it. And I was like, wait, what? Oh no, I have all the program. I know this shit inside and out. I was like, please God, yes.
Yeah. I mean, I still have design. Like I have some clients still, and like I still kind of do it.
Hell
you
yeah.
know?
Yeah, no, you got your hand in fucking everything. You promoter rep, plant fucking patents, visual artist. You're on your way to becoming a death doula as well, which I would love to hear more about when you're ready.
Yeah.
But like, I've always been incredibly impressed by you because you've always been like in the 3 or 4 years. That would maybe more.
God, it's been longer
than that,
hasn't it?
4 or 5. It's less than 6.
It's got to be 5.
It's 5.
Okay.
In the 5 years, I've always just been like, I hope Lacey's good, and I've always been very grateful to learn from you because like you taught me in those time frames that like you can take this job seriously. You don't have to fucking let it kill you.
Yeah.
Because I would let because they like do what you love and let it kill you. It was like you came in here with the shirt you're wearing now and be like, nah.
Well, and that's important to take like away from any job.
For sure.
Is like you can enjoy what you're doing, but don't let it run your life and fucking run you to the ground. You know, because it can, even if it's your fucking passion.
Yeah, I think like you helped me like just not doing. You weren't actually trying to do this. You just because you
I wasn't trying to do it.
But
no.
you taught me passively, just like don't let this shit stress you out, Darien. Like it's like it's you're like it's not that serious. It is, but it's not.
Yeah, like it's fine. We can walk away from this and have lives. It's fine.
and that helped center me over the course of the few years of working with you. So I just wanted to give you your flowers there. Thank you for being you. And
dude, I appreciate that. That's so cool. Yeah. I'm like that. Yeah, I'm just glad that I influenced you in that way. It's super cool. Mm-hmm. I mean, I always just believed in like leadership and like, when we're doing shows, it's like we're a team. Mm-hmm. So like I got your back no matter what. Mm-hmm. Like printers going down or like things are burning to the ground. It's like, no, I got you.
Yeah, this trailer is fucking trash. The show is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, let's fucking clean it up. We got this.
Well, and so I guess that's funny because I didn't feel that way. Like I was also like always working and always burning myself up, which is why I'm leaving the industry because it's very addictive for me and I'm very codependent in that way. Like it's not for me necessarily. It's not healthy for me, I guess. But like it brought us together. And I think like being like just caring about other people, I was just always looking out for everyone and be like, what can I do to help? Like we're a team. I'm not your boss. Yeah. At the end of the day, I don't really give a shit about the show. I don't. I care about you, and I care about the people I work with. And that was always really maybe why I'm different from other people.
And
I don't know.
Showed 100%. That's why me, Kelsey, and Abby would like bend over fucking over a fire pit for you. That's why we.
Well, because I do it for you guys too. Yeah. It's just like at the end of the day, like we matter. I don't give a shit about any of these people that we're doing shows for. I do because they pay our bills. Yeah. But like, I'm not gonna like
fucking just wreck your whole life.
I can't see my friends suffering working because that's not fair. Yeah. Like if we're like dying of thirst or like we haven't eaten, like that's not okay. Yep. Which in the industry as a whole has been kind of, after the pandemic, we've kind of been opening our eyes to that and being like, whoa, we were like working ourselves to death. Yeah. That's not okay.
Yeah. That's one of the things we were talking about last night. The with Kelsey, if everyone's listening to the last week's episode, we're talking about how, everyone working in our industry at our level running at fucking 110 miles an hour for sometimes years at a fucking time and then suddenly stopping.
Well, I think in any industry, though.
I think any industry, but I'm going to say specifically in the music. Okay,
but that's because that's what you do.
I know.
I'm saying in general, the pandemic made everybody have to stop in their tracks and slow down.
And I guess specifically in ours, because like yes, every industry had to stop. That's not up for debate. But specifically in our industry, it is such a from all sides fucking scenario sometimes where you're being hit for things that are not even in your fucking skill set, that isn't your job, and it has to get done. And sometimes you just say yes because, like you said, sometimes the job is fucking addicting because that's where your validation comes from. Whatever.
Right. I cannot fail.
Cannot
oh
fucking
my
fail.
God.
But having all that, regardless of what your relationship is, or with it, or where you keep it in your list of priorities in your life, suddenly having it stop, and then there being nothing, and then everyone's being like going home and be sitting there with yourself being like, who am I without this? And some people, they figured that out, and that's fucking beautiful. As it pertains to everyone else in the world, everyone else, they also realize I don't have to deal with this shit anymore. The job I was working in was fucking killing me, and I'm generally unfucking happy. And people are actually making the point to advocate for themselves, to advocate for better pay, to advocate for better working conditions, and that's a fucking beautiful thing. But I'm saying, but everyone had to do that as it pertains to the industry. It was definitely like, to our industry, it was just a fucking wake up call.
Yeah.
That was brought to us. It wasn't anything we did.
No.
It was the fucking just stopped. So.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, I was working at a record label, and I just woke up and I couldn't do it anymore. Like, it got to the point where like my mental health was really, really bad, and it's not necessarily because of the record label or what I was doing. It was just like there was something pulling me away from that, and that sort of transition of being like, whoa, this isn't good for me. Like it's almost like my mind was like pulling away from my body. It was like almost unbearable. Like it was not good. So that's kind of when I started like, and actually like, when the pandemic happened and we kind of all went into this panic mode, there was one day that I was sitting in my office and I heard someone say, you should be a death worker. You don't need to be doing this anymore. You should be working in the death industry and helping people. And it was, sometimes I hear things like that. It's just this weird thing. Maybe I'm medium, maybe I'm not. I don't know. But it was a calling.
Yeah.
It was a calling, but it was always, I realized at that point that it was always there, but I just wasn't ready to do it yet. And so I had to go through this transition of being like, okay, I love doing shows, but like, how do I do shows and still stay happy and, keeping my mental health in check. But now I've realized that I just need to transition out and just help people have a good death, I guess.
Right.
But
and that comes from like making yourself, like you were saying, like you were, you had to stop, and everybody was making their job like the number one priority because it like defined who you were. But then you have to stop, and then you get to make yourself the priority, and then you're like, oh, I think I'd actually enjoy to do this better because it like hits this part of you that everything else you've been doing hasn't, and it gave you that chance to like notice that or like realize it.
Totally.
I'll add to that by saying like when the noise stopped, then your callings could actually be heard.
Yes.
Like it was like, because it's like the noise is just everything you have to do. It's the responsibilities. Whether at a point we could all stop what we're doing tomorrow and just choose to do something else, but at any point in time, but we do these things for reasons which is because you love it or whatever.
Well, and that's scary, but like you said, it was like a calling, and that's like weird to say because it's like, was it? Yeah, it was. Yeah. Like it self-actualized because now you're going for it. And I think that's beautiful because those changes are scary, but it's gonna be more rewarding if it's hitting a different part inside of you.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, it's not just the event industry. It was a lot of different industries. Like if you're a nurse, if you're in healthcare, like all these different things, like there just need to be a lot of changes to be made with everything that happened. And that's okay. It happens.
Yeah. With like you're a deeply caring individual. Like you said, like we were talking earlier, like you give a fuck about the people that are working. Fuck the job, and you feel that way. And you're my favorite arch goth. You just are. And so when you were telling me that you were going to become a death doula, I was like, well, that's metal as fuck.
Well, thank you.
Horns up. But thinking about it more in that moment, I was like, that's an incredibly selfless. What's the word? It's a choice that you're making. Now that you've made this choice to start going in this direction, like, so like what does it entail? What is the training like? And because you're incredibly emotionally intelligent. I know that's a huge part of it too, because you're dealing with people that are dying and also helping the people that you're helping the people that are dying while also helping their family while they're transitioning.
And you have to be emotionally strong to not take all of that onto yourself.
Yeah.
And that's the part that would make me nervous, because I'm very empathetic, and I take on other people's vibes, their emotions, whatever. So that would be the part that I would, going into it, if I were to do that, I'd be like, okay, Sam, you gotta keep your mind on this and not let your brain go wild.
Stay on the path. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, so what's the training like?
So it's, first of all, a death doula. I don't like the word doula, but that's kind of what America has come up with as a title for this line of work. I wouldn't be called a death doula, but because people kind of know what that means, that's why I kind of said death doula.
People are familiar with the term
yeah,
doula,
because I don't like,
I work with death.
Doula means, it means
Lackey, right?
well, yeah, like a birth wife or a midwife. Like you're married to that job.
Yep.
Like that's all you do, and you give your life to that job, which I don't want that to be that. And plus, it's not gender neutral either. So it refers to like a woman being a death doula, or a woman being
one that can do that.
Birth doula.
Yeah.
Which is not okay. You know, I want all of that to change. So for me, I've been thinking of different things I would be called. Death walker, maybe. You know, like
that's fucking badass.
I mean,
make business cards now.
Yeah.
Not trying to be sensitive, but that's fucking rad.
Yeah, and my clients, you know, would be people that I relate to, like maybe a Satanist, maybe, you know, people who wouldn't have people there for them, or, you know, kind of the misfits of society who, you know, genuinely deserve somebody to be there with them, which is who I am, you know. So yeah, like Death Walker, I think would be great. If that sounds scary to people, then I'm not for you.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't understand what I'm coming from with that after meeting me, then you're not for me.
Yeah.
You're not going to be my client.
Well, but I mean, if they are looking for something, you know, in that field, and you're going to be able to like tell them what you would provide. I don't know if your title would even like deter people away.
Right.
You know, like
let's just say the Jerry from Chanhassen might have some might feel away.
Yeah.
That's me joking, but yeah,
no, I get you.
Yeah.
I get you. But Jerry from Chanhassen might not even go to find a death worker.
Sam, you never know.
Death
Especially
walker,
with
death worker.
Folks from Chanhassen.
Yeah. I know. I understand what you're saying very much. So I actually am going to finish up my certificate in 2 weeks. There isn't any formal training to be a death doula or death walker, or whatever title you can relate to in this line of work. It's basically just folks who are also working in the industry who decided that they wanted to create certificates or some kind of learning course training. There's nothing official to go with it. It's very fluid. So a lot of it is, sure, taking a certificate or researching, you know, who do I want to learn from, you know, and a lot of it is just going to be a journey of going and doing it. So my next step after finishing my certificate would be volunteering for vigil work. And I'll start with that 1 day a week and see how that goes, and maybe hospice, which is different than vigil work.
I was just going to ask if this is similar or kind of like coincides with like a hospice type of situation, because I'm aware of that, but I mean, this still obviously sounds like something a little different. But
Sure.
Yeah.
So this would not be, so like a hospice nurse, they're medicine.
Right.
They're like the medicine piece of this. I'm more the spiritual piece of this, or the information piece of this, because, okay, so this was a calling for me, but my dad passed away in 2018. Okay, so going on before that, I've always really related to death, and I've always found it very beautiful, and I'm kind of a goth weirdo, and my family history has had a lot of poor mental health. Like I come from a background of like darkness, and like, so I've always really related to it, and it's never really scared me. It's always been comforting to me in a way.
That's good to embrace that.
Yeah. You know, I ran from it for a long time. Like I was a drug addict for like, 3 years. I was homeless. I was homeless in Minneapolis. I lost everything. I went through treatment. Like I've been through some really dark places, but I confronted that. And so it's always you know, like if you watch Dexter, it's like this dark passenger. Okay, I'm not a serial killer, but that idea of having, you know,
have to clarify.
You know what I mean? Like it's this very like, if you're afraid of it, you're afraid of it,
Right.
and it's very like, oh, I don't want to look at that. Ooh, scary place, you know, or like shadow work, and you know all these things people talk about. It's just like that, and embracing it. Like I feel very comfortable in that space. That is not scary to me. So my dad passed away in 2018, and I had never really been involved in like a very personal like death before. Now, before you say, oh, I'm sorry about your dad and all that stuff like that, it's been quite a few years. And yes, of course, we're sorry when our parents die, and it's very hard. But I learned a lot from that, and that was also part of my calling, because I naturally adapted to like stepping in and being like, oh, this is what you're supposed to do. And I just naturally did it. And the hospice nurse is like, nobody does this. I'm like, nobody does what? Like, and she was like, nobody stays with their loved one when they're dying. And I'm like, okay. Like, so then researching it more, it's like a lot of people don't stay at home with their loved ones. Like we in America think that going to a hospital is the way to go. And like, we have a certain way that we're supposed to do things. But my dad was in the Vietnam War, and part of his work was he would take dead bodies out of planes. So he did that for 4 years, and he stayed in the war because he had to. And he said to me, he's like, it was complete bullshit. I was taking dead bodies out, saluting them. He's like, for what? He's like, it's fucking bullshit. And he was like infuriated by it. But he had a fear of funerals at that point and dying. Like he had a genuine fear of it. And so he never wanted to go to funerals. He was scared of funerals. He hated all of that stuff, which understandably so. I mean, 4 years of sitting in hell, like
That's your
taking
job.
out dead bodies, like, you know.
He had his fill, to put it in a weird way, I guess.
Yeah, so it was very scary for him. And, you know, he wanted to die at home. He didn't want to have a funeral. He was very odd. I mean, he was born in 1944, so like he had some very strange views. Like he would say, well, when I die, I want to be cremated and shot into space.
That's what I said.
Okay, so he said this shit like when I was a kid, and I'm like, you're fucking crazy. That's like, okay, Dad, that's great. Like what, you know? But now researching the ways that you can die and have funerals and all those things, like it is an option. You can get shot into space. And I just read this recently, and I was like, that motherfucker. He knew something. He knew something. And now I want to shoot him into space. But he said he wanted to be shot into space because maybe an alien would find him and could extract his DNA.
Said. Oh my God. Word for fucking word.
Yeah. And this is before the internet.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, okay, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you know, like I'm a poor bitch. It's never going to happen again. But now like reading about everything, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. What's the movie? Was it October Sky?
Yeah, that movie's great.
Yeah, like we should just do that. Just put like some ashes. Just put the ashes right in the middle. Make y'all good. Launch the fucker up and just see what happens. And then if it lands in the woods somewhere, starts a fire.
Yeah, but you can genuinely be launched into space, and you can be launched into space, and like you can rotate around the fucking Earth for eternity, like until it like you know the Earth doesn't exist anymore. And
We just got to find Jake Gyllenhaal to launch us into space.
No, it's a legit like
a
you
legit
can.
thing.
There's a company.
That's just an October Sky. I was trying to continue your joke, and you look at me like I'm dumb.
I didn't think about that. I only remember Laura Dern. I'm sorry, buddy. So
I'm glad that Laura Dern's the only one that you remember from that movie.
All right. Yeah.
Well, no, that's a very beautiful thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't launch him into space.
Yet. So it's all
but
good. Yeah.
So I ended up, you know. So I ended up putting him in a coffee can because that's inevitably what he wanted. And I poured him out on the interstate.
Hey, word. Word.
But, okay, so being with my dad when he was dying, it was a calling for me because I naturally just sort of took care of him, and we came together as like family came, and like it was very empowering and enlightening. And actually, so he was cremated, and I had a few weird moments. Like this is gonna sound really creepy. So I was sitting with him, And you get to a point where you can't talk or move. You're just sort of like laying there, right? You can't, they can hear you, whatever. But I like held his hand and all I could see was like this very dark, like empty place. Like it was really creepy. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, Dad, you can go now. Like, you can go. You don't have to be here anymore. Because he laid in bed for like a week and a half. And we're like, is he, you know, oh my God, he's going to live forever. And like the state. And, you know, days turn into, you know, what feels like forever. And you're just like hoping that, you know, they're just going to let go. Because it's very uncomfortable for us, the living. We're like, oh my God, it's taking forever, you know? Which is true because my dad was a real pain in the ass. Like, I love my dad, but my dad was a fucking asshole. So it's just like, let's get on with it already. Get back to life. No, it's terrible to say. But I held his hand and I was in this very dark space. And what I can compare it to is like on Stranger Things, like when Eleven goes into like the upside down, this very empty like space. And it was like echoey, and I'm like, you can go now. Like it was very weird. And I just sat with that for a while. And then there was like nothing. And then later that night, his head went ice cold. So his brain function stopped. And then his body was still functioning, like his lungs, he had lung cancer. His body was still functioning. Like, how the fuck do you have lung cancer and your lungs are still functioning and your heart's still functioning, but your brain is gone? Like, how bizarre, right?
Yeah, the spark was,
So I went outside before his head went ice cold or whatever. So I had this, and then I went outside and I was just taking a break outside, and he lived in Fargo, North Dakota, which is fucking freezing, and it was December. So I go outside, and it was this oddly, like, you know when you have those really eerie nights in Minnesota where it's like so quiet and still that you could hear anything. And it was December, but yet there was like this fog coming off of the snow because it got kind of warm.
Or
it
like
was
a mist.
So eerie.
Yeah.
Totally out of a fucking horror movie. So I'm sitting on the stairs and I turn and I look and I'm like, and my dad was standing there and I was like, and he was, so I'm sitting on these stairs and to my left, I look and he's standing facing to go out, like out of his fence. And he was all dressed up. He was like Johnny Cash, like he wore all black and he wore like a black cowboy hat. And he was wearing like these silver tipped cowboy boots and shit. And he just turned and looked at me, like no expression on his face. And then he turned and looked away and he was gone. And I was like, what the fuck? And that's when he went ice cold. And I was like, holy shit, he's fucking gone.
Wow.
Like, yeah. And so then sitting with him after that, it was like, wow, like that was powerful. I was like, did I see this shit? Or like, do you hallucinate this shit because you're going through grieving and like all these emotions? Like, you can believe what you want to believe. But
you fucking felt it though.
It's some crazy like shit that people kind of have these experiences with people. But I also had this feeling that he looked at me and was kind of like, thank you. You know, like, because my dad and I had a really not a great relationship. Like, we didn't talk for a long time. And then we sort of, I kind of forgave him for a lot of things. And then we kind of got together in our differences. And then I could kind of be with him while he was dying, which was very beautiful. You know, a lot of people don't get to do that when you don't get along with your parents. So to have that closure was wonderful. And that was kind of my other big piece of the picture of going through that and feeling like I want to give that to other people because I've experienced that. And I think everybody's going to be different, obviously, but I want to be able to hold space for people and get people information and sort of be a guide in that space because it's scary and you don't have the answers because it's death.
Well, and all those conversations are like uncomfortable, and you're saying like you feel comfortable in it. So who would you rather have a fucking convo about it to try and help you figure out how to at least get an idea of how we can go through this and figure out what we have to do? That's comforting in that, just because you can talk to somebody that's like, yeah, I don't know, that's fucking weird, but you know, I don't. It is what it is. What up, D?
Hey.
You told. Thank you. You said you told. Thank you for being very vulnerable and telling us that. and I just want to just say this right now because it's going to be a hard transition, and I hope that this is funny. If it is not, you can punch me in the face.
Hard transition.
Yeah. Death Walker, Texas Ranger.
Oh shit! No. My dad was from Texas.
Is he?
So that's pretty valid.
Death Walker, Texas.
He would have liked that. That's the other part about death, though, too. Is I was thinking, I was like, it doesn't have to be serious if you don't want it to be.
Yeah.
You know, like when my dad died, I felt a lot of joy. I felt a lot of closure, a lot of peace, like things that people would get very upset with you about. If you're like, what do you mean you're happy he's gone? It's like, well, no, I'm not happy he's gone, but like, you know, there's some crazy emotions that go with that, and that's okay.
And and especially with you being so incredibly emotionally intelligent, and then like you said, you able to have closure. You were able to forgive in all those other ways. Like other people, they don't get, like you said, they don't get that. And then just the way you're able to look at it is a perspective that most people won't ever have.
Right.
So
right.
And so you going into the world, becoming a Death Walker.
Death Walker.
You're going to provide such a beautiful service to this world that
I appreciate that. I feel really good about it.
Yeah, good. I'm fucking stoked.
Well, okay, so the other piece of this is I also want to be like a hypnotist as well. Yeah.
God, you're so fucking
because okay, this is fucking weird, right? So I was in Whole Foods the other day, and Josh was like, my husband, he was like, look at the coffee that David Lynch is selling. And I'm like, what the fuck do you mean? And I looked at it, and it's a picture of a hypnotist, like hypnotizing like somebody in a hospital.
What?
And so David Lynch is like raising all this money to like help hypnotists help people in healthcare because it's like this taboo thing. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why? Like,
and he's sponsored by Amazon?
I don't know, but I thought that is so odd that like I had that idea and I'm like, here's David Lynch like trying to raise money for this shit.
Right.
Like, so like what? Okay. Yeah. Thanks. Universe.
I pictured a package with David Lynch's face on it.
Oh, that's exactly what it is.
Like Paul Newman's salsa, you know,
Yes.
like I picture the same fucking,
Yes.
but
No,
it's a
that's
creepy
exactly
ass packaging.
Completely what it is. And you're like, but you know, yeah, it's cool. Yeah, thank you. But you know, but my idea that I had was that folks who are dying that can't get closure with certain things that have happened in their life, like maybe it's connecting with someone, maybe it's saying they're sorry or whatever. Like with hypnotherapy, you can kind of bring somebody to that space. So they can get closure easier and faster so that they can move on or have that.
And maybe let go.
Let go because that's the biggest issue with one of the biggest problems with dying is people don't want to let go, understandably.
Yeah.
But I think being a person that can kind of help with in my way, have those tools available, I think could be really helpful.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah.
So too.
Especially when like going into you coming here and like I'm learning a fucking ton about it, about this this industry, and I'm assuming that there aren't a lot of people that do these things.
There are actually.
Really?
Yeah, but you know, it's like one of those things where you're like, well, I didn't know about that. And then like when you start diving in, you're like, oh my God, there's a lot of
these
people doing
been
this.
around
But
for a while.
Not enough.
It sounds
but, you know.
sounds so great that like more and more people should do these
is.
things to like get that clarity, to like feel better about, you know, maybe saying goodbye and like letting go and not going through so much pain while they're in the moment of it.
Like you don't have to go and see that person. If there's a way to give that to you, why not give it to them? They have days, weeks, whatever to live. It's like just bringing somebody that closure, I think, is
it's just so
great.
taboo in this world to have the conversations.
Yeah.
So it's just like that's why I wouldn't know about it, you know.
Sure.
Less taboo, more massively uncomfortable.
Right. That's more so what I mean. It's just people have a hard time talking about death in general.
Yeah,
so it's just you don't even think that would be a thing. And I'm glad to know that it fucking is, because that needs to be there for some people that you know have those you know, skeletons in their closet or fucking dark things that they are having a hard time letting go of.
I don't know. Like I've never, I tell myself like I think I go through different levels of thinking that I'm comfortable with going at any time. Ultimately, I really don't want to, but there's a certain release that I live with, being like, I'm like, if I leave tonight and something happens, like, fucking, I guess it was my time, guys. Please launch me into space if you're able.
Yes, I will make sure that happens, my friend.
Thank you.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
I gotta start GoFundMe or something for friends that need to be shot into space. That's a true thing.
Just
real
get a
thing.
bunch of people's ashes, put them on one big
Hell
thing,
yeah.
and just rate.
I mean, it probably costs a pretty penny. So if you are gonna do it, you should get more bang for your buck and send like a grip of your friends out into space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll all get back together. And if we get found by
Goth
aliens,
table floating together.
Oh my
shit.
God. Thank you. Yeah, no, if they send all of our ashes get put together, launched into space, found by aliens, and then they reconstitute us into this fucking amorphous blob.
the best people to bring back.
Yeah,
too.
right.
I mean, just saying.
So they're like, what's the Cronenberg monster or whatever? Come back like,
Oh god, totally.
absolutely fucking terrible.
Oh my god, like the colors from space. Have you ever watched that fucking movie?
No.
With Nick Cage and oh my god, it's a H.P. Lovecraft
Oh wow. Okay.
movie, but it's the same director of Mandy. If you've ever watched Mandy,
Yeah.
I've not, but I
I could
Dude.
only imagine with Nick Cage
Oh,
and
terrifying. I had nightmares for days. Like that shit was like, oh my god, like I can't unsee it. Like you have to watch it if you're a horror movie
what is
fan.
it? What is it called?
Oh shit, Colors from Space.
Okay.
I always forget the
Because
something like that.
I loved
look
Mandy.
it up.
It blew my fucking mind.
I haven't
So
seen Mandy.
anything from the what's that?
I haven't seen Mandy.
I mean, it's a
Dude.
fucking
Is it?
mind fuck,
Yeah.
and if anything is like comparable to that, I want to see it because it
You
is
have to watch
because
that.
Nick Cage is so ridiculously extreme and intense in Mandy.
Oh,
well, and in so many things, but
Color Out of Space.
Color Out of Space.
Okay. I love how like Nick Cage. It's a fucking volume game at this point.
Yeah.
He's just gonna be in anything that he can, and he's gonna.
But in Mandy, he's incredible.
Yeah.
But I fucking hate Nick Cage. Otherwise, for real. And this movie, and that's about it.
Yeah.
That's all I can take of him.
I like him in Con Air, and that's like my one.
I like Con Air is one of my favorite movies as well. So
Yeah, I
Oh, wow.
just because it was it evokes a really specific memory. It was one of those like I shouldn't have been watching, and I was. I was like,
funny.
fuck yeah! So Cyrus the Virus.
I just always loved that Steve, like the most dangerous man in the whole movie is Steve Buscemi.
Oh my god.
And he ends up being pretty kind of
pretty nice. He's just playing with dolls
Pretty
with the
chill.
girl in the pool, and then yeah.
I remember us talking about his character in the movie and it being weird then and it's weird now.
Yeah.
Great.
That's creepy.
Yeah.
No,
All right.
no.
Well, we're gonna go on one more break as we all go into a Nick Cage wormhole really quick. Everybody, we'll be
dun.
right back.
He's great in Mandy.
Yeah.
He is.
All right.
You gotta watch it. Especially he's like, okay, my favorite scene is when he's sitting in that fucking bathroom with all the carpet and his fucking tidy whities, and I hate tidy whities, but something about Nick Cage going fucking mental, sitting in an orange carpet bathroom. Now, mind you, the carpet goes on the entire floor, up the walls, onto the ceiling and around, and he's wearing like a tiger t-shirt, like a white, I think it was like an orange t-shirt, like a fucking tiger on it, and he's just like, and he's like pouring like vodka.
Yeah,
in his
he's just got a
fucking
bottle
mouth,
of
and he's
vodka,
like-
pouring it all over himself. Then he's just like,
and he's not saying any words. He's just going mental. That is my, yeah.
well,
So there's some, but besides that, the chainsaw scenes and things like that are pretty badass. And there's a lot of Satan shit in there, and it's cool.
No, it's good to know. Like that's on Netflix, right?
I don't know if it's on Netflix, but you can
had-
definitely find it.
We have it on Blu-ray. If you want, I'll ship it to you.
No, listen. If you send it to me, I will watch it.
Wait, do you have a Blu-ray? Can you play a
I
Blu-ray?
can figure it out. It'll be
Okay.
fine, and I'll send it right back to you. There's a way to watch a Blu-ray somewhere in my.
All
house.
right. Because I think you got to rent it off Amazon Prime.
All right. Well, fuck Amazon. Listen, I'd rather pay the fucking shipping fee than give Amazon.
I'll
any
just
more
send
money
it to you.
this month. So
We want to share the Mandy. It's good. You got to watch it.
yeah, I hope Mandy Moore's doing okay.
Share the Mandy.
Share the Mandy. So I guess like to go into a different direction, not the same direction, just different area. I'm really bad at these fucking transitions. Keep this part in, everybody. I'm trying. Leave me alone.
I was planning on it. It's okay. It's totally good.
Thanks, buddy.
Dude, it's good.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm just killing it. What would your gravestone? What would your gravestones say? Or the thing?
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, we're getting into weird death questions.
Yeah.
Or questions relating to death. I don't know. Here lies Sam.
I think at that point I would just like super glue a fucking QVC QR code on it, so we'll be like,
dude, that's what I was. Oh, yeah. All right. Okay. So what would you have?
Well, no, like mine was I was gonna get a fucking QR code, and then I was gonna have it be the fucking Rick Astley song.
Oh my god! I was gonna say, where are you gonna link that shit to?
Yeah, to that. But what I want to do is I want to get it. I want to make sure that he gets paid, or his estate gets paid, and it would just be that with a video of me just standing there, just be like.
I was gonna say, like, once you have like the YouTube, like the Darien YouTube channel.
Yeah, Darien YouTube channel.
Yeah,
just,
okay.
Like, just leave it alone. And just be like, just until it's there or whatever. And then if that doesn't work, then it'd be linking below saying like, if this video doesn't work, go to this link, and then it would go to the original.
And it would just go to like, sorry, this link is broken.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, clearly, hey guys, this didn't work out the way he wanted it to. Nameless grave.
And then it's the dancing hamster song.
That would be. Oh my god, that'd be worse.
Oh.
Could you fucking da da dee do dee do do? Oh my god!
It gets to that page once all the other ones that they've followed down your wormhole.
Sam, if I was a supervillain, just because you said that, I'd start arching you.
Yeah,
that's fine. I can appreciate that, D.
You're welcome.
I mean, just come back and haunt him, wouldn't you? At that point, I mean, I would.
Yeah,
I could just come back haunt your ass.
It's like, oh yeah, like I wanted to be Rick Astley, but you changed it to the fucking hamster song.
Yeah, I did it after you passed. I just switched
one final fuck you to me, right?
Yeah. Fucking ghost.
Then everybody
on.
thinks it was your idea.
Oh no, I don't know. That sounds terrible.
What would you throw on yours?
I wouldn't have a headstone. I'd just like, be buried under a tree or something.
That's what I was looking into. Yeah. No, the whole like where you can where they just throw you in all natural.
Yeah, I like that idea. And there's a new thing where you can get turned into beads. You can take your ashes and be turned into beads, which I know you can be turned into jewelry too, but that's kind of interesting. I don't know who would be around to have the beads. Like I don't have kids.
Yeah, so. your grandkids. Like
there's no one for me.
But like there's like family heirlooms going around. Oh yeah, that's grandma.
Yeah,
it's just a
that's
necklace. It's a necklace
hanging
hanging on.
Really granny.
That's actually granny. Oh wow.
If you turn it into a fucking ring, there will be issues. Do not do that.
Yeah, no. I like the tree idea. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's appealing to me. Being shot into space is fucking cool.
That's what I was saying. No, like I was having a genuine response. Like I've said, like just launch me into space if you can. Like just like cremate me, take me right to the fucking sky in any way that you're able to. I don't actually have to be there.
Yeah,
just launch me into space in spirit. And this to hear that that's what your dad wanted, I was like, oh.
I know, but like so many people are probably thinking about that, and I just thought you're fucking crazy. And then like, no, truly, he was smart in thinking that. I was like, okay, like I'm more embracing of it now. I'm like, no, it was a thing. You're right. It's fucking cool.
Oh my God.
I always thought I would want to go like Donnie in The Big Lebowski when they're like getting rid of his ashes, and he just like they have just like one more awkward thing at them saying goodbye to him, and he just throws the ashes out of the can, and it goes right in the dude's right in the dude's face. If it's something right at the last second that I would laugh at, that is how I would want that to go. Like,
but I think that's normal, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, actually,
that would happen to anybody.
Yeah, like in part of my certificate, this is so. They're like, okay, so when you're suggesting to your clients, to do this and this to spread the ashes, like make sure you mention to them, don't, go with the wind, don't go against the wind. I'm like, oh my God, like, this is really in here. Like, I need to mention this to people, but I guess, I guess you do.
Well, we're not going to plan it around the wind. Like, just let it blow in your face if it's good, And just because I would laugh at that, like, looking from wherever I'm at, watching my friends or loved ones, toss me out of the can.
If there is a sure way to be haunted by someone, it is to inhale their ashes.
That's true. I mean, my dad's still sitting in my house. I don't know I should like toss the rest of them out, but I just haven't. There's so much. Yeah. It's like, what do I do with all this? You know, like, well, okay, so getting back to that, so this is an Ash's story. So my dad wanted to be poured out on the interstate of I-94 instead of being shot into space out of a can or whatever. And I'm like, okay, Dad, whatever. But I did it. And Josh and I went up north, and it was December of the next year, I think. And we got stranded in Fargo because of Winter Storm Gage, which my dad's name was Gage.
Wow.
And so we were stuck in Fargo not knowing this was going to happen. And we're like, oh, fuck, we're never going to be able to leave.
Wow.
And all of a sudden, we turn on the TV. It's like, Winter Storm Gage is coming. I'm like, no fucking way. What?
Oh my God.
And my dad was like, I had my dad, and I was like, okay.
Are you fucking with me?
Yeah. I was like, what?
She's looking like, what the fuck is this? What are you doing?
So weird. And my
Yeah.
dad was obsessed with the weather. So like he was constantly like, oh my God, it's gonna, like, he had super high anxiety over like blizzards and all this stuff. And I'm like, of course Winter Gage is here. Like, of course. So, you know, I'm like, okay, so I'm pouring out my dad, whose name was Gage, like on the interstate of 94, so that in his words, he could give traction to people in the snow. So maybe he could save somebody from going in the ditch, which is what he wanted. So
Such a sweet man.
oh my God.
I mean,
he's such an idiot. So I'm like, Josh, you have to drive, and I have to throw my dad out on the interstate in Fargo where it
If
meets
someone's tuning in right now and they haven't heard about Ashes,
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Like, oh my God. Like, I'm sorry. And then also, I'm just thinking like the people that are like behind you.
I know.
Just,
All of it. It's horrible.
just trying to drive.
And I hate winter, and I'm like in a blizzard, like driving on the worst bridge and the worst interstate of like the entire country.
it's for traction.
It's fine. It's Winter Gage. I know, and
I'm so sorry for laughing this hard.
it's awful. I know, but we were laughing too because we're like, what the fuck? Like, how is this happening?
Oh my God. Just like someone just driving, the winter storm's happening, and then all of a sudden you see like some black, some gray shit. in your
Totally.
window. You're just like,
Totally.
oh my God. Okay, sorry. I'm sorry.
No, it's true. It was ridiculous. Yeah, okay,
Oh my
so
God.
envision me. Josh is driving, my husband, and I'm like, okay, here we go, Gage. We're throwing you out now. So I'm like, you know, like putting half of my body out of my car, and I'm like, okay, like, how the fuck am I gonna do this? Like, how do you not get it all over you? You know, it's very awkward, and you're like taking the cab, and you're like, okay, go. And it was just like, bleh. It was just bleh. And I'm like, okay.
And now it's being,
All right, I did the thing.
Yeah. You
Fuck
fucking
off.
did it. Shout out to you for fucking respecting doing you that.
Yeah, but it was like so bizarre. So things like that happen with like it doesn't have to be all sad and horrible, and like it can be funny because like, you know, my dad would have been laughing too, just like, oh, you fucking idiots, like I didn't mean for you to do that. It was like, yeah, whatever, okay. But
we took you literally, Dad.
Yeah.
but
You're welcome.
but the sign was there with like, you know, Winter Gage, so I
Right.
did it anyway.
Oh, hell
It's
yeah.
a huge sign. Like, they're like, what's that fucking stupid that Bill Engvall joke? Here's your sign.
I don't listen to Bill Engvall.
I did once upon a time, and I took that away.
Do you believe in signs though? Like, do you have signs? Because I have that happen to me all the time.
I do believe that signs can happen. Just the way I do feel like there are something when you have a calling. Like, because I go by like the feelings in your chest, the feelings I get in my chest, from things that aren't happening. That maybe it's an internal thought. Sometimes I think it's the same feeling you get when you're listening to when a song resonates with you. I also feel like sometimes I think I mentioned this really early in early parts of our podcast, but it's like when you get a good stretch in, and then for 1 second you feel nothing because your body's trying to adjust from all of the whatever poisons that were in your muscles that are now being sucked inside of your spinal cord.
Yeah, the toxins. Yeah.
The toxins. It was like, ugh, and then that moment, then just kind of like, call your mom. Something like that. But I think it's little moments, and sometimes it happens when you're thinking about something. Sometimes it is a fucking sign on the road, a passing conversation, somebody else talking.
And then something happens later. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like,
sometimes it really. I have really intense deja vu sometimes, and that has either prompted a path, or it has saved me from getting my nose broken.
I was gonna say, like, deja vu kind of makes me think a lot of that because a lot of times it's either it's like foreshadowing to like something, and then it's just like, is this gonna turn into something? And I'm like confused at what the fuck's going on, but then it's like, okay, I guess we'll accept this now.
Yeah. Like the intuition.
Yeah.
Piece of that. Yeah, I have signs happen a lot, and especially like starting to do like this death work, like there's a lot of signs that happen. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, fine, like oh yeah, it's there, I can't ignore it. So
which is probably a good thing too.
It is a good thing
with what you're doing. It's good to be aware of those things, I think, and if that's why you're getting into it, I think.
Yeah, totally. Well, like with the music industry, it was like that for me a lot too. Like so, for instance, this festival that we used to do, I had this premonition to not do the festival. And I had like this really strong premonition. And I texted my boss and I was like, it's going to sound really weird, but you shouldn't do this festival next year. And then the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they would have been out like millions of dollars.
Yeah. Oh my God! If could you imagine having to fucking God?
And that was before the pandemic, shit like that. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like I remember having a conversation with him. I was like, you just shouldn't do this festival. And I'm like, I don't know why. I just have a really terrible feeling.
Well, and within that company, that's like the number one thing that could have like really fucked you guys with the pandemic happening.
It would have been categorically terrible.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, but stuff like that happens to me, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah. No, there's so many things that people do in the world that affects us that sometimes it's like not a whim, but sometimes it's like a feeling people get. Like when my mom has called me because she's had a weird feeling before, I've always respected that. Or we have other very empathetic friends who had a weird feeling that morning that they were talking about. And then later on that night, something in the news happened that's worthy of being like, that's something that's disturbing and shitty, and maybe they felt it. So I have a healthy respect and relative fear of the unknown, and the unknown is the ghosts or the signs, all these things, and I don't like to be dismissive of them because I think this world and this universe is too fucking big to act like none of that exists.
Yeah,
ignorance is not bliss.
Yeah, it's just like if you're open to those things, just be open to them. Don't hear them out because like it's real to somebody, and you don't have to fucking be a prick about it. Just like
right.
Yeah, just listen to it because sometimes signs. I've had other people who have had their own signs and then or they've had like their own moments, and then listening to them has given me insight as well. So as long as you keep your ears open and your heart open as well to that shit, I don't know. I think it actually increases life.
Oh yeah,
and it increases like just enjoying life more because you're open to more stuff. So
well, and you're not stressing. Like stress fucks you up, and if you're stressing about every fucking thing that could possibly happen before it happens, then what the fuck is the point of it?
Yeah,
So that's what I've been learning because I do have a lot of anxiety with things, and a lot of stuff I've just been like, that's not doing any good for you to fucking worry about it because it might not happen, and if it does, it might not happen for a long time, and it's out of your control if it does. So
and if it does happen, fucking resilience. That's fucking resilience.
Exactly.
Yeah,
like
hell yeah. But Lacey, thank you.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I love this. This was great. Thanks for coming and hanging with us.
Yeah, like I think so highly of you. So when you had like an enthusiastic guest, I was like,
hell yeah. I mean, I want to keep talking about this stuff too because like you're talking about anxiety and stress and like control. I mean, living in such a capitalistic society in the time that we do, embracing death has really been an eye-opener for me because it's like really at the end of the day we have no control over anything.
Yep.
So really coming to terms with that and morality and all these different things, it's like, is it really worth it? Like, no, not really.
Yeah.
Because in a few 20 years maybe or whatever, like I won't be here. Like 50 years, I don't know.
Right.
Like I have no control over that.
Well,
none of us do. The only thing we all have in common is that we are going to die.
Yeah.
That is the one thing we have in common.
That's going to be the headline for the show.
We're all going to die.
Yeah.
Which
is
wonderful and scary and terrifying and beautiful at the same time. But that's why we connect. Like that is one of the reasons why we connect. And I want to be there for that.
Oh yeah.
And also boomers are dying, if tons and tons of them every day. And, you know, I have to be there for those boomers. Okay, this is terrible. I hope nobody I know is listening to this podcast, but a part of me is going to be very happy watching boomers like leave. Which is part of my therapy every week.
That's on the back of your business card. It says Death Walker, and then she's like, I can't wait to see you leave. That's what it says on the back.
Oh my God, Sam! Oh my God!
It's true.
Oh my God!
I said this shit to my therapist. She was like, "That's valid." I'm like, "I know."
Death Walker, Texas Ranger.
I like some of you. Most of you, I don't like. You can go. We need to start.
Escorting boomers the fuck out of here. Lacey Hunt, thank you so much for being here. Like you're a great friend, and I love and I appreciate you. Learn so much from you. I'm learning. Tonight has been a fucking revelation into what you're gonna start, what you're beginning to do, and I look forward to seeing. We'd love to have you back on so you can tell us how it's going, and we talk about some more. So
hell yeah,
we'll let you know. But fuck yeah, fuck. I'm gonna read us out. Is that cool, Sam?
Yes.
Tight. Thanks, buddy. So
you're welcome, buddy.
Edit. Thank you, Sam. Why am I being such an asshole? I'm such an asshole.
Anyway, hey, Darien, I'm gonna read us out, okay?
Fuck off. Thank you for joining us. If you want to submit any questions or topics, head to bit.ly/FFW grab bag or contact us at foodforums@gmail.com.
foodforwormspodcast@gmail.com.
Thank you, Sam. For more existential humor, remember to rate and subscribe to Food for Worms on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. You could be anywhere, but you choose to be here, and that's weird. We appreciate you. As always, check on your strong friends. Tell your people you love them. Remember that you can't take any of this with you.
So don't be a dick.
Don't be a fucking prick.
Yeah.
Like it's not that hard.
Or I
sometimes.
might have to see you on your deathbed.
Death Walker. Dun, 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 dun,
Just
dun,
kidding.
This has been Food for Worms. Lacey, I love you.
Love you too. Appreciate you. Thanks for having me, you guys. It's really
for having
fun.
me.
Let's
Of
do it
course.
again. Let's talk more about death.
We will. Oh my
Yeah.
God. This
Okay.
has been great. Sam, I love you.
Love you too. Love you, Death Walker, Texas Ranger.
Yeah.
Texas Ranger.
It's fabulous. I kind of like that.
The Food for Worms podcast is a hella rad production.
It is recorded and mixed by Samuel Sarver.
Executive producers are Darien Washington and Samuel Sarver.
Theme music is Muffins by Dresden the Flamingo.
Find us wherever you get your podcasts and like, subscribe, and leave a review.
Because we need those reviews.
We do, and it helps people hear our stuff.
Pushes us right to the top. But on top of that, we also get that sweet ass validation. Sam, have you felt validated lately?
Sometimes.
I recently took up this new moniker. Play with me in this space.
What's your new moniker?
Validation Highlander. I used to be chopping fucking heads off, man. So stupid.
Fuck them bullies.
Fuck them bullies. You get it validated, and you get it validated.
And you, and you, and you.
Do you feel seen?
I'll cut your head off.
Oh my God.